Inequality emerging from extreme wealth in a tiny sector of the population has led to bias and a lack of representation in our nation. Why is this the case? Because concentration of wealth leads to concentration of power. The wealthy 1% of Americans in our nation don't have to worry about financially providing for their families or affording health care or paying off student debt, but most Americans do. And it's the voices of these Americans that are being drowned out by multi-billionaires who can simply buy their way into Congress. This is a clear picture of why economic inequality destroys democracy. In the 1950s, production stood as the foundation for our economy. Banks and investment firms were appropriately regulated, institutions only constituted a small part of our economy, and their primary function was to distribute unused assets towards productive activity. But this is no longer the case, and production is no longer the goal. Instead, business and profit are. The trade system has been reconstructed so that there has been a reduction in the share of income among the working class. Furthermore, wealth concentration has increased through anti-capitalist bailouts and economic crashes that have resulted from deregulation. Consequently, the rich get wealthier, and you, my friend, are left on the bottom, unheard and unrepresented. This idea goes all the way back to the framers of the Constitution, who knew that their democracy would need protection from the wealthy. James Madison said that the major concern of their newfound society was to protect the minority from the majority. One way that minority has failed to be protected is through income inequality. Proposed solutions to this inequality include tax hikes on the wealthy and an expansion of federal programs. An example would be Elizabeth Warren's ultra-millionaire tax on the 75,000 richest families in the nation, Senator Bernie Sanders' extreme wealth tax and national wealth registry, and former Julian Castro's agreement in that the government should boost taxes on the wealthy and the GOP tax cut should be repealed. But I don't believe that increasing taxes on the wealthy or an expansion of federal programs are the solutions to income inequality. According to the Congressional Budget Office, the national debt just topped $22 trillion, is expected to soar to $29 trillion in 10 years. The federal deficit will hit about $900 billion this year and exceed $1 trillion every year beginning in 2022. Tax cuts are not only just going to add to that debt, but they're robbing the wealthy of money that some of them have earned. And they're placing a responsibility in the hands of the government that shouldn't be in the hands of the government. Our government does not handle money wisely, and the $22 trillion in debt is evidence of that. I don't believe that giving them more money to solve our problems is going to solve anything. Instead of relying on the government that's constituted of money-hungry billionaires, we need to take matters like income inequality into our own hands and view it differently than we have been. This means no stripping others of their money, but giving what we have freely. We see a problem. Income inequality is a real problem that needs to be addressed. So instead of being a democracy that depends on the government to steal money from the rich to fix that problem, we need to be a giving people. In saying these things, I'm speaking to the nation, but also specifically to the church. We need to be a people who do as 1 John 3:17 through 18 says. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and truth. Income inequality shouldn't be a problem fixed by the government. It should be a problem fixed by us ourselves, neighbors, strangers, friends. We're all Americans, and defeating inequality is in our own hands. John Adams says our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. So fixing inequality starts with looking inward at ourselves. If we aren't, whether rich or poor, individually willing to give freely to our brothers and sisters, why should others be forced to?